Battle of Killiecrankie, fought on July the 27th, 1689, was brutal, dramatic and decisive. A small army of Highland Scots and Irish Jacobite infantry swept away almost twice the number of Williamite troops on the exit of a narrow pass north of Perth. Casualties in the battle were way beyond the percentages normally expected in 17th century warfare. But then again, this was no ordinary battle. This video explains why Killiecrankie makes for dramatic history and exciting wargaming. It also debunks some of the mythology surrounding the event. Let's deal with the elephant in the room straight off. Killiecrankie was not a Scotland versus England fight, nor was it a Catholic versus Protestant one. Although the Jacobites were aligned to a Catholic king, James II and VII, their commander, John Graham, Viscount Dundee, and some of the clansmen were Protestant. Their opponents, numbering around 3,500 men, were in the majority Scots, mostly lowland Whigs, but several hundred were Highlanders. The Williamite commander, Hugh Mackay of Skourie, was a Highland lord. Scotland had long exported its fighting men, and 3 Williamite regiments at Killiecrankie were from the Scots Dutch Brigade. Bartle Balfour's, George Ramsay's and Mackay's own regiment were Flanders veterans and part of the Dutch army. 2 newly raised Whig regiments from the Lowlands, the Earl of Leavens and Lord Kenmure's, contributed around 1,400 men. The sole English regiment was that of Ferdinando Hastings. Even by 17th century standards, this man was a true rascal. The army was completed by 2 small independent troops of horse from the Lowlands, 1 independent Highland company, and a few small, useless artillery pieces. Viscount Dundee's army was much smaller and built around a core of clan regiments. MacDonald's of Sleat, Glengarry and Clanranald, Maclean's, Grant's and some Athelmen. 2 units stand out as different. 300 or so Irish from Connaught under a Scots professional soldier Alexander Cannon, and the regiment of Sir Alexander Maclean containing Irish, Scots regulars and some Highlanders. This was reckoned to be the best outfit in the army. Dundee also had a small lifeguard composed of men of his old regiment, the Royal Regiment of Scots Horse, and some volunteers, roughly 50 men. To a large extent, the topography of the battlefield dictated the result. The pass is narrow and Mackay was marching north through it. To avoid being caught in his right flank, he deployed his army in a long line on a plateau nestled between the upper slopes and a steep back slope running down to the River Garry. Dundee's 2,000 men stood on the upper eastern slopes and waited until dusk before attacking down an extremely steep incline. To extend his frontage and avoid being outflanked, Mackay thinned his line from 6 deep to 3 deep. The first volleys did not stop the Highland charge, and the Williamite line was driven in and butchered. Wargaming Killiecrankie is not as tricky as it might appear. It can be done as a whole or in parts. Features which create terrain-making challenges can be ignored. The slope in which Dundee's army stands is not necessary. The charge can be enacted when they hit the plateau. Unless you want to specifically model the destruction of the baggage train on the banks of the Garry, the back slope too can be omitted. This means the main wargaming considerations are 1. The troop ratings, 2. The commander ratings, 3. The goading of the clans using snipers and leather guns, 4. Mackay's tactical choices on line depth, and finally, fixing plug bayonets in time or relying on volley fire to stop the charge. The 4-play scenario series serves up 3 exciting Killiecrankie games representing parts of the battle which are often ignored. The first covers Dundee's death ride after the Camerons and MacDonalds have broken Mackay's line. The second explores the withdrawal of Mackay's Dutch left wing, an event which resulted in their destruction and Ramsay's death. The last features Hastings' regiment attempting to defend its baggage train from marauding Highlanders. Each is played out on a 2x2 table and should take no more than 45 minutes to complete. Okay, so let's move to the tabletop for some beneath the lily banners mechanisms which deal specifically with gaming Highlanders. In the additional rules section of the War of Three Kings, there are details about how to manage the moving, shooting, combat and morale of Highlanders. 4-play is great if you want to get in quick and started. With 40 to 50 models per side, it is very low risk. If you want to go large, A Taste of Victory has the full battle. Here we have Glengarry attacking Mackay's regiment. This example will demonstrate the benefits and risks around the Williamites deploying 6 deep or 3 deep. In the scenario, choosing 3 deep gives extra firepower, improving the possibility of stopping the attack before contact. Remaining 6 deep provides better combat effectiveness. If the Highlanders can brave the fire and make contact, the chances of scoring hits are extremely high. This may be enough to break the enemy. General Mackay has chosen 6 deep for his army line. Let's go through the sequence. First, the Highlanders check to charge and pass. Mackay checks to stand and is okay. Mackay's stand and fire check is devastating range, but only a single casualty is caused. The Highlanders brave the fire and contact. Glengarry scored 3 hits, Mackay's a respectable 2. This is a win for the Highlanders. If Mackay had chosen a 3 deep line, his shooting dice would have been 8d10, looking for 6s to stop the charge dead. If he failed, the thinner line would have played badly in melee. All of these details are included in the Conquer or Die scenario in A Taste of Victory. Killiecrankie is remembered for the stunning success of the Highland Charge, the slaughter of a trained modern army by a feudal horde, but mostly for the death of Bonnie Dundee in his moment of victory. A few weeks later, a few miles away at Dunkeld, the Jacobites were held in check by a new force, the Cameronians. But that's another story. I hope you've enjoyed this League of Augsburg video. If so, please like it, subscribe to the channel, and look back for some more 17th century wargaming action.